We've all been there. Heartbreak, loss, and the struggle to move on. But few have laid it all bare like Chris Aiken. In Little Victories, Chris shares his raw and powerful journey through a brutal divorce. Every painful moment, every emotional battle, and every step toward healing is captured in this honest, unfiltered story. If you've ever been through a tough breakup, Little Victories is the guide you need. Get your copy today at chrisaiken.net or on Amazon.
Hello, this is Marco from the Swedish death metal band The Crown. You are watching CMS TV.
It's Trivium right here on your Classic Metal Show with Caustic. Are the ties that bind.
Just love that.
Just evil music. That one going up by request to Anthony Carollo. And just before that, we heard Sepultura doing a cover of U2 with Bullet the
Blue Sky.
The Blue Sky. Yeah, exactly. For Skippy. And we heard Body Count with Cop Killer for PC.
Yeah. That made Sal all mad.
Really?
Yeah. Who's the lefty that requested that?
Sal still awake?
I can't believe it.
All right. All right.
Hematoma must not let him put it on the pillow or something.
All right. Well, that was for PC. And we heard Aerosmith with Back in the Saddle for Jackal. And, of course, we started that rock block off with the brand new T.J. James song, That's What Love Can Do. So I saw a few comments that says, not actually, this is actually pretty good. Not bad. Well, everybody who didn't think it was not bad, help a fellow CMSer out and go over there and buy a download.
Buy a download or at least play it once.
Yeah. Go over to Spotify if you have a Spotify account, or even if you don't, because you can get Spotify for free.
Yeah.
And play it. Do something. Help out.
Help a CMS guy.
Come on, a long-time CMS guy.
Who's given us a lot of funny over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And plus the song doesn't suck.
No,
if the song sucked, we would not tell you to do that.
We tore Junk Punch apart.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, we did not give that any love at all. So, we were very honest about that.
Yeah, we gave it a pretty good trash.
We did not say, "Oh, Tim, this is great."
No.
We thought, "What the fuck is this?" It's like, were you singing this on the other side of a gym or something?
Yeah.
All the ambient sound and all the, it's just like, holy shit, what is this? Now all of a sudden he comes up with this professional recording and, obviously his vocals are, fits the song. It's written in his key and a lot of inflections there in his voice. A lot of great instrumentation. So go over and buy the goddamn thing or go listen to it. One or the other.
Yeah. Or both.
And throw a couple of shekels at the go fuck yourself.
Yeah, the go fuck yourself thing.
Yeah. So help a fellow CMSer out. They're indulging in their passion and share it with you. And we're glad to help Tim out wherever we can. So
absolutely.
And that goes for all of you CMSers. If you got something to promote and you believe it's worthy of promotion, we'll be glad to help you out and bring you on the show and promote your stuff.
Oh yeah, just be prepared for honesty.
Yeah, exactly. Don't expect us to go, oh man, this is just great.
Oh, you're on Locals? Best record ever. No. We ain't doing that, but but we'll definitely help you promote it, of course.
Sure, why not?
You guys are helping promote this shithole show, so why not?
All right. So anyway, this is the last segment of the show. So I've been kind of steering the ship all night. Do you have anything in particular you'd like to cover?
What time is it?
Well, we got
40
about
minutes.
40 minutes.
All right. I'll do a quick thing, and then we'll do the nothing but a good time.
Yeah,
get the fuck out of here.
Good time, sure.
And it's TV centric as well.
Okay.
So I got this box, this VC Pro box, which you can buy at Amazon.
Yeah, but you got it as a gift. Another CMS fan.
Another CMSer. Thank you so much, Paul. Paul is my new favorite person on this planet.
Yeah.
I like him more than my mother and my kids, I think, because Paul is entertaining me.
All right.
Now, one of the things that's on the box is movies. As many movies as you can possibly see. So sometimes, do you ever do, let me rephrase this. You ever do something and then afterwards you look at it and you go, man, I knew this was going to fucking suck. Why did I do this?
I know. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I made the brilliant decision that since the movie from back in like 2000 was so good, that being Twister, that I needed to watch the sequel that just came out, Twisters. This bag of shit might have been the worst movie that's ever been made.
Even the shark movie that we did the Tuesday night watch on.
Yeah, considering that this was big budget.
Yeah.
I mean, this had to be $100 million movie. The CGI looked like the shark movie that we did, Six-Headed Shark or whatever. It was so bad. I could not believe it. I'm watching this movie, and will you turn off a movie? Is there a point that you get to where you're like, oh, fuck it, I'm this far, I'm going to finish it?
Well, I have turned off movies because it just bored me so bad, or
sure.
So bad that it's just like, this is not my cup of tea.
Dude, this is how fucking stupid I am, and I'm going to take all the hits as being a fucking moron for wasting over 2 hours of my life on this shit. This movie's especially long. That's the first thing. I think it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes or something. I was hating it so bad that I flicked the remote down to see where I was at. I was like, oh, I got to be almost done with this, right? It's got to be coming to the end.
Right.
I'm at the halfway point.
So what is the premise of this sequel or follow-up?
All right.
What is the purpose of making a follow-up to Twister?
So, first of all, it has nothing to do with the original thing other than it has tornadoes.
Okay.
That's all it has to do with the original. So there's this girl and her boyfriend and her friends that when they were 16 years old decided they were going to be storm chasers or tornado chasers.
Yeah, storm chasers.
They went out, they chased a tornado with their fucking bullshit that they had at 16 years old. It went bad. Tornado turned the wrong way on them. Sucked up and killed two of the friends. The other two survived, but barely. The girl and the guy.
Okay.
I should have known when they first got in the truck at the beginning of the movie this was going to be bad because they literally went out of their way to make sure that it had all the diversity features handled. Black guy, white girl, Asian guy, black girl. So they went DEI with the four main cast people. That was the first thing. I should have known right then, turn this shit off. But no, I don't watch it. There's something about weather things that I always enjoy. I usually really enjoy these kind of movies. Day After Tomorrow, anything with weather. I'm usually into it. What was that one? The Storm one, Perfect Storm.
Right.
I like weather-y type movies. So anyway, the friends go out, chase. Two of them get sucked up into the thing and die. They fast forward a few years. The girl goes to New York to work. She gets a job at a fucking company reading weather or some bullshit. I don't even know what she was doing. And the boyfriend calls her, says, hey, you got to, or shows up in New York, says, oh, you got to come back. It's different now. I got all this money and blah, blah, blah. And it's all financed different. And, it's like this whole thing. So, of course, she goes back. She hasn't been back in 5 years. And they try to make a nice about, well, look, she's visiting her mom, who she hasn't seen in 5 years, and blah, blah, blah. And that plot goes nowhere. So now you remember the original Twister?
Yeah. Bill Paxton. And what's her name? Helen Hunt.
Helen Hunt. And the one guy that's now dead.
Well, Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton too, but the other guy that everybody said was a good actor. And what was his name? I don't even remember. But he played the dorky guy with the hat.
Yeah.
That guy. Well,
half the cast is dead. Let's just put it that way. And not by way of Twister.
No, not by Philip Seymour Hoffman. Thank you, Anthony.
Right.
So they go back. The guy convinces the girl to join his team to chase storms. But there's a cowboy that's also chasing storms. And he's got his ragtag crew that chases storms too.
Is this a competition?
Yes, now it's a storm and this guy is some YouTube sensational storm chaser guy.
All right. Well, how do you compete in storm chasing?
Getting better video. And this was where it got really bad in a hurry.
Right.
So the one guy seems to be like a radical cowboy guy. He wears the cowboy hat, wears the boots. His whole team looks ragtag as fuck, But they go into the storm, they drive right into the tornado and shoot fireworks up into it and get video of them shooting fireworks into the tornado. And
all right.
It was fucking stupid. And, of course, they never get sucked up into the tornado. So, the big plot twist to this thing, and sorry if I'm spoiler alerting this thing.
Plot twister.
Plot twistering this, you're right. What ends up being the secret twist is these guys that they make out to be the
secret twister.
The secret twister. I got to keep my twisters in here. They make this plot out to be that the guy that we thought was the bad guy with the ragtag people were really the good guys that were trying to help this town that was there because the guy used to be a rodeo guy or something. It was so fucking dumb. But then the other guy, the boyfriend's guy, they were being funded by a guy that was the reason he was chasing storms was so that he could be on site whenever a town got leveled to buy the land at a cutthroat rate. It was so fucking stupid.
It's like, so he was praying for storms.
He was, yeah.
To wipe out his town so he could go in there and said, I'll buy your land for $100.
That's what he was doing. He had these guys chasing the storms and predicting where the storms would go. And then as soon as a storm would wipe out a city or a town or whatever, he'd show right up and say, look, I'll give you $0.25 on the dollar for every acre you got. It was so fucking dumb.
So he was a dastardly, sinister guy.
Yeah. So then you had the big plot twist of the girl that came back. Now she's torn between being a helpful person in the town or staying with her ex-boyfriend that's really a piece of shit helping steal this land from these Oklahomans.
Right.
So another really fucking dumb thing to this movie. So this guy's driving, the cowboy guy, he's driving this piece of shit truck. This thing, it looks like a Ford 150 from like 88 or 89, just an old piece of shit, right? Racks on it and all kinds of stupid bullshit on it, right? Well, the thing that he has, though, is he has a button inside that will send these two drill mounts into the ground and drill the truck into the ground so it doesn't get blown away by the twister.
It stabilizes the truck.
Yeah.
And some Batman shit.
It really was some and it was the same with the fireworks. when he shot the fireworks into the tornado, he drove into the tornado, then he planted these things, drilled into the ground so that the truck was stabilized. And when the tornado got over the truck, then it had like these tubes that would shoot fire. And why would you build this? Why would you build it? Was so fucking bad. Then there's a tornado that hits this town, and it's fucking up this town, something fierce. But somehow these people were able to get into a pool, and in a hotel. Thankfully, the pool was empty. Thank God for that. The pool was empty. But you stay at a lot of hotels.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a hotel where there was a pool where one wall on the deep side of the pool had all the pipes showing?
No.
Well, of course this one did. So that these people could all get in there and hug the pipes to not get sucked.
Right. They could hang on to the piping.
This fucking movie was the worst. It was. I'm telling you, I'm still kicking myself because I looked at the halfway point, and that was my out. My out was I looked because it was awful. And instead of saying, I'm out, click, I said, I just got to see how this ends. And then I watched just another fucking hour of bullshit. Of tornado chasing fucking cows down, from the rodeo and shit.
Right.
Oh, it is a miserably bad movie. So the only reason I bring it up is because I do not want any of our fans to waste their money renting this piece of shit.
Remind me of that Phil Collins music video from the 80s where they have him in all the different music videos that were popular.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, so, how does it end? So, how does it end? How does it end? Remember that movie? That
yes.
Music video? What was it? Which
was that? That wasn't I Can't Dance. That was
no. This was a Phil Collins solo.
Yeah.
But they had him like in the cars, like
you
might think I'm crazy, and they had him in like a Madonna video.
Yeah,
and had him in a Michael Jackson video, and
I forget
all this.
Which one
and
it was.
He goes, so how does it end?
Phil Collins, multiple videos.
I think it might have been from No Jacket Required or some shit like that.
It wasn't Sussudio. Two Hearts? No, I don't think that was it. Not in the Air Tonight. I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. It was just one of those videos.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's all I have to say about Twister. Don't watch it, or Twisters.
It's garbage.
It is shit. And I'll watch some bad movies. Lord knows me and Eric are going to watch a bad movie on Tuesday, which I have not seen yet, but it looks fucking straight up terrible. It looks really bad. So I forget what it is, like Shark versus Octopus or something. Sharktopus. That's what Sharktopus.
Yeah, I knew a chick like that once.
Yeah, I'll bet you did. So to counter that,
yes.
You and I both watched what I thought was excellent. I don't know what your thought was yet. We haven't talked about it, but Nothing But a Good Time on Paramount Plus.
Right.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, there's a 3-part docuseries out there of the 80s metal scene, hair band scene, whatever you want to call it. And it, for those of you who are fans of that era, there's a lot of stories in there that we've all heard. Anything from, how dangerous or how fucked up Guns N' Roses were to Chris Holmes being drunk in the pool.
Right, sure.
To Poison, the fist fights between Poison at the MTV Music Awards to,
sure.
And a lot of the people that have appeared on this show and people that both Chris and I are friendly with are in this video, in this documentary, be it Don Dokken, Tracy Guns, Stevie Rochelle,
Steve Riley,
and, Jack Russell, And, you know, to see all these people in this documentary, it's just like, holy shit, that's pretty cool. But they all gave their recollection of that time period from 82, from the rise of Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil era,
Right.
to Quiet Riot, getting the #1 album on the Billboard charts with Metal Health, to, you know, the rise of hard melodic rock metal, to Randy Rhoads dying in the plane crash, to Ozzy. So it spans the gamut of basically the whole decade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes from 81 to like Nirvana.
Yeah, 92.
Yeah.
And they talk about, you know, the forerunners of that era, be it Motley Crue, Quiet Riot,
Right.
Dokken, to the second tier, which was like Cinderella. Def Leppard fell into that category. They just kind of spanned the time between the early stuff to the middle stuff.
Right.
And then, you know, they talked about the fall of that era of metal to the third tier that included Tough, which Stevie Rochelle talked about that extensively, to the Faster Pussycats and
Right. Trickster.
They Trickster, and they talked to Ricky Rackman, and he talked about co-owning the Cat House nightclub with Tammy Down of Faster Pussycat.
Sure.
And his friendship with Axl Rose and Guns N' Roses. They talked to Tom Weirman. They talked to
your buddy, Zutot.
Yeah, Tom Zutot played a very big role in this whole series because he was
the guy.
He was the guy that made that whole era happen for the most part.
Yeah.
He signed all those bands.
He did.
And he was 18 years old.
Yeah.
You know, he was just a very young kid who had very definite thoughts on the direction of the music scene.
Well, you know, it was amazing. And I thought he was probably the best in this thing. I thought he was really good, and I'll be honest, and I even texted him. I thought Stevie was really good in this.
Yeah.
I thought they gave Stevie a lot more time than a lot of the bigger name acts, but Stevie came off the most genuine, I thought. Like, he didn't come off like a pompous douche. He came off very real. You know, like, hey, I missed. He said it point blank, tough. We weren't good enough.
Yeah, we didn't sell 500,000 records. I don't have a gold or platinum record.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of what I did, you know, but you know, again, he more or less reiterated that too little, too late.
Mm-hmm.
And he admitted the copycat of I look like Bret Michaels.
And dude, that was really creepy when they showed the two of them side by side.
The side-by-side comparison of what Stevie and Bret Michaels looked like. They were just like side by side.
So why do you think Bret looks so healthy? See, I thought this. I'll ask Stevie this too, but Stevie looked very old and tired in this thing.
He looked old and tired. He does.
He did. And I know Stevie well. You know Stevie well.
I've known Stevie
for a long time, forever.
I met Stevie the first time, and I think it was 2000 when he came out with American Hair Band.
Sure. I mean, we've known him for forever.
So I've known him for 25 years.
Now, the one thing I do know about Stevie, he's never been a drug guy. He's never been a booze guy. And Bret Michaels was. Which made me, I looked and I was like, how did Bret, is it all surgical? Do you think Bret looks the way he looks because it's all face surgery and stuff? Yeah,
well, I'm sure Bret has had some eye lifts and some, you know, a little bit of plastic surgery, not to the point of being ridiculous.
No,
you know,
not crazy, but
disfigured. But yeah, he's definitely had some work done.
Because I'm just looking and I'm like, Bret still looks like he's 25.
Right.
And he's been a partier. He was a drug. I mean, he admitted it. He admitted it in this documentary about using coke and using drugs and you know, partying hard and obviously the diabetic stuff and everything. And I was like, how does he look so fucking healthy? And Stevie looks like he just woke up.
Well,
you know?
again, Stevie didn't get himself, I'm going to use a term, all dolled up for this thing.
Yeah, true.
He just had his coat on and his hat.
His hat, yeah.
And I'm sure Brett was wearing some makeup too.
Well, and I noticed that too. If you look, Brett had the green light behind him, and
he had eyeliner on, and he had some makeup done. I'm sure he had the flesh tone makeup done, and I'm sure they made him up before they did the thing. And I'm sure Stevie probably did not.
Stevie was like, "Hey, where do I sit?"
Yeah, he had no makeup on at all.
Right.
So he did not get prepared,
right,
to sit in and do this interview and try to look, the way that he did.
Right. So who to you watching this thing? I thought this thing was excellent. Did you as well?
It was very well done. It was very well produced. They interviewed Roxy Petrucci from Vixen.
She's looking old too, huh? Jeez.
You know who looks just awful?
Who?
Nick Sabo.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, whose grandmother is this?
He's got this big old jowl thing going on, and he's got this big old
turkey neck
thing going on, and it was just like, holy shit.
I didn't recognize him at first. I really, truly, I'm not even trying to be funny or nothing. I was like, who is that with Rachel? I thought this is going to sound mean. I'm sorry. I thought it was his mom.
Yeah. He just
he looked like an old woman.
Yeah. He has this whole estrogen thing going on,
Yeah. And I'm not trying to be mean to Snake. I mean, I love Snake. I think he's great. But
Snake has been I've run
always
into
great.
Snake probably half a dozen times over my career here as a CMS host.
He's always nice.
He's always been very nice to me, but holy shit, when I saw him, I was just like, Jesus.
Yeah, he looked like he got hit hard by life.
Ugh.
He definitely did. But who was your standout for this show? Because I have one guy that I thought stood out above everybody else.
Well, I liked Tom Zutaut. I thought he did.
I thought he was good. Yeah,
I thought he was real good because he talked about his role in the whole thing with a lot of pride and I hate to use this word, but I'm going to use it because I can't think of a better word. He talked with it about the whole experience with a lot of pride and glee in what he did. But I think the most honest guy was what's his name? The manager guy.
Alan Niven.
That's
who I thought was the best.
Alan Niven was just honest, and he was just like, you're calling this thing nothing but a good time? It wasn't by my standards.
Yeah. He said, it sucked.
Yeah. But you know what? Alan, I don't know Alan at all.
I don't either.
I talked to Don about Alan, and he knows Alan really well.
Sure.
Obviously. But, and what's really strange is I'm not a social media guy, obviously, but I do have a LinkedIn page for CMS Enterprises. I don't participate in it. I don't use it. I have it. I've had it for years.
Sure.
But Alan, years ago, he reached out and asked to be added.
Okay.
And I was like, holy shit, this is Alan Niven asking me to friend him,
right.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
And maybe that's a guy that maybe we could reach out to. Maybe
I'd love to have him on, man.
Of course. But anyway, I know the name Alan Niven. I know that he managed Great White. I know he managed Guns N' Roses. I know that he's been very involved, but he was just like, this being a manager of these fuck-ups, this was not a pleasure for me at all. I'm getting cleaned up. I'm counting out his drugs for him.
He puked in my face.
Yeah, I'm tackling people to keep them from biting people, or Doc McGee rather. it's just ridiculous, and again, Doc McGee was really good.
Yeah, he was good too.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize him either. He lost a ton of weight.
Well, not only that, but he got all new hair.
And all new teeth. Jesus. I think Mitch Malloy's dentist is his.
Right. So he's got all new teeth and all new hair.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a lot thinner. And, he
looked like a mafia boss.
Yeah, he did.
He went from being a fat pudgy fuck on all the pictures I'd ever seen before to a mafia boss.
A fat balding guy. I mean, he always had the comb over going on.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a full head of hair now and big white teeth, and
he looks like he was in the Gotti family or something.
Exactly.
Jesus.
So it's a worthy watch. I mean, you get to at least hear people's side of it. I like the fact that Warren DeMartini actually participated.
Yeah.
Because Warren does not talk to anyone.
No, he doesn't.
He does not interview. He doesn't talk about that time. I know when they asked him about how bad Robin Crosby's drug problem was, and
he said,
just sat there and kind of like looked down and goes, you know what? I really don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to discuss it. All I'm going to say is it was bad. It was just really bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he could say because I don't even want to talk about that.
Dude, how funny was it? I thought the funniest part of this whole movie was when they were talking about Robin and they interviewed that, what's her name? Dee Dee Keel.
Yeah. She was the booker over there at the whiskey.
Mm-hmm. And they asked her if she ever fucked any of the rock stars. They just asked her point blank, did you ever fuck any of these guys? And her answer was hilarious. She said, you don't go in the candy store and not taste the candy.
Right. And again, she was, and
she was straight up too.
Well, and the pictures of her as a young
she was hot.
She was hot.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you who
she fucked a few of them.
I'm sure she did. I'll tell you who did not age well, other than Snake Sable. Penelope Spheris.
Oh yeah, she's like a big. She
looked like a homeless woman.
Yeah, I know. She's just not attractive. But you know what? She was honest. She said I would go to that. What she said? Go to the cat house every weekend and get fucked.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
She said she said the only reason she went to the cat house was to get laid.
Yeah, she got laid every weekend. She went to the cat house and got laid.
Dude, the stories were fucking hilarious in this movie. Tracy Guns, who I don't like, but I loved his story about trying to go and take a piss, and there was chicks that wanted to go with him in the bathroom. He's like, no, I really just have to piss.
I really have to piss. I just don't want you going with me. But how about John's story about David Lee Roth in the bathroom?
Yeah, that was funny too.
Because, every time I actually had to go take a piss and the bathroom door's locked. David?
Yeah,
David, I gotta use the bathroom. Come on. Because David Lee Roth would be in the bathroom fucking some chick.
Yep, or getting his dick sucked or something. It was fucking hilarious. I will applaud these guys. They really were honest. And that doesn't usually happen in these documentaries where they're all still out there.
But here's the thing. These guys are so far past it that what do they got to lose now? Nothing.
Yeah, but they do still. I think they do have. I could see some of those stories, some of these guys being mad and saying, well, we're not going to play shows with you anymore or whatever. Right. And I mean, almost every band that they talked to was still active.
Yes, that's true. And that's the reason why they were in this documentary, because they are still active. And these documentarian guys were able to capture them on one of their tour stops or, whatever. But, I could list off all the people that we personally know, be it Stephen Piercy, Don Dokken, our friend Jack Russell, who's no longer with us now, Steve Riley, who was always a very good friend of mine. He always did well over the years. I know Tracy Guns pretty well. Steve Brown. He was on this show numerous times.
Dude, he called him from the tornado at Rocklahoma.
He did. So a lot of these people who are in this documentary are personal acquaintances of Chris and I.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for us to watch that was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
And did it strike you? This struck me as well, and I was struck by some of the things that kind of identified a lot of these guys, and how the reasons they happened were so fucking nonchalant and casual.
Right.
The biggest example was Poison couldn't afford good paper for their flyers.
Yeah, so they took the
green.
Yeah.
They took green paper that somebody sold them by the pallet or something for like cheaper than cheap because they couldn't give it away at a paper store. And that set up their whole career.
Well,
their whole career was that green.
Yeah, it set up their identity.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But it really didn't come from like, man, we had this thought.
Yeah, we thought green would be a good thing. No, we used it because that was cheap and that's what was available.
Because we couldn't afford white paper.
Right. And so it became our identity. We just embraced it.
Yeah. It really was I'm going to be honest. I loved the documentary. I was a little annoyed by it because Hartnett and I interviewed the two guys that wrote the book. That were the main guys.
Right.
And they were not that great of an interview, either one of them.
Well,
and then they did this and they were really good.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn it.
Well, the parts that they were interviewed in this documentary, they were like 30-second snippets.
Yeah, they were short. That is true.
They were just 30-second snippets, which can make anybody look, intelligent or well-spoken or whatever. It was just little sound bites.
Yeah, I just was like, damn it. How come this thing got such good footage from these guys and we got two fucking dickwads?
Well, regardless of that, whoever funded this thing and edited this thing and put it together, because, our friend Bob Nalbandian, who, obviously is no longer with us.
Right.
We understood through Bob what it took to put a documentary together, because he did the Inside Metals, and he had to travel and he had to set up and schedule times and track these people down, all the people that participated in his Inside Metal documentaries.
Sure.
And it's an arduous task.
Oh, yeah.
And then not only after you do all your interviewing, then you have to go through it and decide what you're going to keep and decide what you're not going to keep.
Write a storyline around it, yeah.
So, for example, when they were interviewing Tom Zutaut, you think that there was 30 minutes of time that they spent with him? No, they probably spent 3 hours with him.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
But they condensed it down to 30 minutes worth of sound,
if that
at the most, over 3 parts.
Yep.
So you have to sit there and clip and decide, well, this was worthy of keeping, this is not so good, but
and how does this guy relate to somebody else's story and everything else?
So we have to make it pop and make it, and keep the viewer interested in what's going on here.
Right. I will address this real quick. I always hate these documentaries because inevitably fucking Nirvana will turn up at the end.
Well, that part is true.
That is true, but they really, all they really said about Nirvana was that they came in at the end, but they were pretty hardcore about Nirvana didn't kill that scene.
They said the oversaturation is what killed the scene.
And the example they used was perfect when they said it was a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
Right.
And to where, and they laid that out and just said, look, if you did that even with a piece of paper or something, that fourth copy is going to look like shit.
Yeah, it degenerated to the point to where it's, nobody wants to look at it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Dude, how funny was the Odin redo?
Yeah.
Looking at Odin and stuff.
Well, I thought Stevie hit it on the head. He goes, I just thought it was funny because they were talking to Randy O of Odin. And he said, well, if fame and fortune doesn't happen for him as a rock star, he was going to kill himself. And he goes, well, 35 years later, he's still not dead, and he's still
Not
here.
famous.
He's still not famous.
Yeah, that was funny.
But that was good.
Yeah, I thought the whole thing was very, very well done. If you have Paramount Plus, you should definitely watch it. I think it's definitely worth watching.
If you like that stuff, it's cool. And they talked about the decline of Western civilization, part 2, the metal years.
Sure.
And they talked about the resurgence of that style of music. It kind of came back full circle in the early part of the 2000s. And
right.
The show that you're watching right now was my attempt to shed light on that era that went away for a few years.
Yeah.
And I started this show based on, hey, why isn't anyone playing this stuff anymore?
Yep.
And I did it. I'm being Eddie Trunk now. I brought the whole 80s thing back. No, but the reason I started this show was because of the love of that music in that era. And at the time I started this show in 1996, that was not happening.
No, it was all Candlebox at that point. Candlebox and Sponge. And...
I was very fortunate to be on an independent FM radio station that allowed me to have a show and do all my own thing. And that's exactly what I did. Bob Long told me, I said, hey, Bob, I got this idea. I want to do this show. I want to feature these bands because these were my favorite. Nobody else is doing this. What do you think? He goes, if you've got the music catalog, go for it.
Yeah.
And
you didn't know Bob at all, did you?
What's that?
You didn't know Bob at that time. Like going into it, you didn't know him.
Well, I mean, I obviously met the guy.
Yeah, it's not like you went to Streetsboro and you were a student or any of that stuff.
No, not at all.
You were like the only outside guy, I think, ever.
I was an intern.
Yeah. Okay.
Mike Kustis.
Yeah.
He was the quote unquote the manager.
Yeah. Now he's Streetsboro's historian.
Right, exactly. And I got my show on Saturday. I started my radio shift on Saturday night, just doing their normal format at the time. And then I expanded and I said, hey, can I do my own show? Can I do my own show? And they were just like, well, what do you have in mind? I go, well, this is what I want to do. And they were just like, yeah, well, at the end of your normal shift, if you want to do 2 hours, and this show started out as 2 hours, I started it. Well, then we started getting the ratings, and it said your show is rating pretty high. People seem to be digging this a lot, So then when it went to 4 hours, then it went to 6 hours.
Right.
So I started the show at 8:00 p.m. Eastern time and went to 2 a.m. And that's what we're still doing all these years later.
Yeah.
But that's how it started, because I was like, well, can I feature this stuff? Can I do a show like this? And it was like, well, yeah, go ahead and give it a shot. Why not? What do we got to lose? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's how the show started. And then, of course, through my friend Rockin' Randy, your friend Rockin' Randy,
sure.
I met him at a Jackal show at the Odeon.
Right.
That's how I met Rockin' Randy. And the first thing he talked about was, Chris Aiken? It's Bottom Line. I write for his magazine. Dude, you got to meet him. You got to meet him. I got to introduce you, man.
Yeah.
And that's what you think I could come down and, talk about my band Wicked Heart on your show? Do you think, could I come down there and talk to you on your show about Wicked Heart? That was his band.
Right.
I was like, yeah, you could swing by. Why not? Whatever. And so he'd come down and chit chat about music. And he was just huge Skid Row fan and GNR fan and Motley fan. And, he loved all that stuff, of course. And, fate kind of took its course. So relating to this documentary, Nothing But a Good Time, I started this show based on kind of what that documentary covers.
Right.
A lot of the way.
Sure.
So it's very relatable. And, I lived in LA during that time as well. I was in LA from 85 to 91 myself personally. And so I experienced a lot of that, and, it's just a part of your life. And a lot of people who listen to the show, it always goes back to MTV, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Everything is MTV centric. This whole thing was driven by music videos, MTV. If you could make it onto the MTV with your music video, you probably had a hit record by then.
Oh, yeah.
People loved it because it was like, Jesus Christ, this is MTV. If you got featured on MTV, you were the next big thing. And, I like the fact that they featured, in the first wave of this was also Wasp.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm surprised is they weren't able to nail down Blackie Lawless for an interview, to get him to talk about this.
That was surprising.
Yeah, so
or any of the Wasp guys.
None of them.
Yeah, none of them had nothing to say.
Yeah, they didn't nail anybody down. And you know who I was surprised that they didn't even talk about it at all?
Who?
As far as like the popularity and what was driving a lot of this?
Who?
They didn't talk about Bon Jovi at all.
No, they did not. Not a word.
Nothing. They didn't even mention like Cinderella. They didn't talk about Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi was huge. That's slippery.
Yeah, the only Bon Jovi chat was the Skid Row guys.
Yeah.
But they just said, he was helpful.
All they talked about was the plane, the Skid Row guys opening for Bon Jovi or Bon Jovi on that plane. They were on the plane or something, but they didn't even talk about Bon Jovi, which is kind of weird because that was huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, but
yeah, I just was kind of surprised that didn't even get mentioned at all.
I didn't really think about it, but yeah,
they talked about Def Leppard, and they had Phil Collin on, which was which was appropriate. But regardless of that, Bon Jovi didn't even get a mention.
No, they didn't, which is surprising because certainly Slippery When Wet was a fucking huge record for that time.
Everybody was singing Living on a Prayer.
Yeah, everybody had that record. We all had it.
Yeah. So that part was kind of weirdly absent.
Yeah.
Because when they got to the Skid Row part, they said, well, on the West Coast, all this was going on, everything that we know about the quote unquote, the hair metal scene is happening on. But at the same time, things were happening on the East Coast in New Jersey, and they didn't even mention Bon Jovi.
No, they only mentioned Skid Row and Trickster. I was like, what?
And I was just like, what? Bon Jovi was just like massive.
Yeah.
They had an album called New Jersey.
That's right.
But they didn't even mention that.
No, they didn't. But
And you talk about the big hair thing. And you know who else I'm surprised they didn't track down and talk to?
Who?
Lon Friend.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he was a ghost. You would have thought with the GNR stuff he would have been in there.
Of course. So that's the only other criticism I have is, well, you couldn't track down Lon Friend?
Yeah, apparently not.
I mean, that guy, they showed Rip Magazine, but they didn't track down Lon Friend to talk about this.
Yeah. Mm.
So, but overall, if you are a fan of that era and kind of want to relive some nostalgia and hear it from the artist's mouth themselves, and you know who else kind of surprised me that kind of I didn't even recognize him only because some weird thing has happened to him over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Adler.
Yeah, well, he had a stroke.
Well, I know that, but I met Steven Adler, when he was out there doing Adler's Appetite when our good friend Sheldon was singing with him.
Mm-hmm.
But even since then, something weird about his look is kind of, I don't know what it is, but it was kind of weird. I was just like, that's Steven Adler. It just doesn't look right.
He looked odd. He sounded weird.
Yeah. So, but anyway, if you want to watch it and hear about it. It's on Paramount Plus. Nothing but a good time.
Absolutely.
3-part series. Each part is about 45 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
So about 2 hours and 15 minutes. You're good.
Yeah, it's worth the watch.
Yeah, it's like watching a long Twister movie.
That's right. That's better than that.
All right, so that's our review. So go watch it if you choose.
That's right. Get to it, fuckos.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap up the show tonight.
Yeah, that's it.
As always, we appreciate you tuning in. I personally will not be here next week. I will be out in Las Vegas, or if you are in Las Vegas, I will be out at the Fremont Street Experience on Friday night with Dokken.
Cool.
So if you are out in that area and happen to see me around, come up and say hail and kill or whatever it is. Just don't kill me, okay?
Yep.
But Fremont Street Experience Friday night, Dokken. I will be in Las Wages and hanging out for a few days. And Chris is going to take over the show with John Drake.
Yep. Drinking show.
And he's going to do a show with John. And it's been a while since John has kind of like co-hosted with you.
Yeah. Should be fun.
So we're not going to leave you hanging with a best of show.
Nope.
And
it will be video only, though. I am telling you guys that right now.
So there will not be any music live stream, I guess, right?
There will not be any music live stream.
All right.
Video only.
Okay. So that's the plan for next week. So since it is fall today, the first day of fall, I guess, I'm going to leave you with kind of a traditional song that I've been leaving you with for the last 6 or 8 years, I guess. I'm going to leave you with some Stephen Pearcy from his Smash release.
Okay.
And we're going to get out of here with Summer's End.
Cool.
All right. So it's been a good show. We want to thank our good friend Tim James and Daniel. I don't want to say his last name.
Buckspan.
All right. With his book, Rush at 50.
That's right.
Which is out October
8th. Yep.
All right. So if you're a Rush fan, or even if you're not a Rush fan, go check out that book and go buy a copy of Tim James' download of his Love.
That's what love can do.
That's what love can do, right?
Yep.
All right. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. I will be back in 2 weeks. Chris will take care of you next week with John Drake. So tune in for that. And we're going to get out of here. So until that time comes, this is Neeley along with my very good friend
Chris Agan.
And we're gone.
Bye, kid.
Attention metalheads! Want to rep the classic metal show everywhere you go? Head to the CMS store and grab some killer swag. Whether it's coffee cups, t-shirts, wall art, or even phone cases, we've got you covered with all things CMS, featuring our iconic logo and badass mascot Rex. Don't miss out. Visit cmsstore.cmspn.com today. Support the show, show off your style, and rock on with the classic metal.